So thank you, Jayan, for doing this for us. And this is for everybody's reference. This is the learning in action by People Matters and upGrad Enterprise. The focus of this conversation is really to give our learning leaders, some things that you have done well, and through the next few minutes would love to just learn a little bit about what you're doing. So Jayan, let's start with the thing that's front and center today, which is really that technologies like AI today have become much more mainstream, very, very dominant. How do you see that, from a business priority shift perspective, and give it a skilling flavor, right? How are you seeing both of those in action?
Okay, thank you, Dhruv, for inviting me into this. So I think if you look at last couple of years, industry has been evolving. Even the customers have changed the way in which they need to go and look at the market. So they think about their customers very different, and naturally many of the new things like the AI and all has become very prominent today. But at the same time, what's happening is that we still have a lot of work to be done on the traditional tech part. AI is evolving, but we cannot wait till AI is evolved fully. Okay. So what we have taken the approach is that we have taken an approach where we are bringing in AI learning into the organization through a combination of things. One is giving them content to learn. Second is create platforms for them to kind of interact between each other and learn, like running some hackathons inside the organization. Or maybe there are other things like using Copilot in a better way. So it's very focused, and we are using a lot of people supporting each other in the learning, and then using some bit of metrics for us to measure how we are improving on that. But the intensity of that will keep evolving as we progress through the time.
Got it. No, very interesting. And I want to touch upon the fact that you said it's peer-to-peer learning in that sense, right? We believe that peer-to-peer learning is powerful, but do you want to give one or two instances of how you've seen that play out in your organization?
Yeah, I think it goes back to whenever we discuss about the content in that we have to offer to our people. We classify contents into two. One is the contents that is available in the market. I mean, it's exceptional. Like there are a lot of contents available in the market. The second thing is that we believe that there's a lot of things that our people can teach each other. Yeah. So one of the things that we give a lot of importance is to see how we can encourage the key technical people inside the organization to give that knowledge to others in the organization. So as a very simple example, suppose there was a big performance issue in a particular product, and they have solved it through some mechanism. We want them to kind of talk to the organization to say that, okay, this was the problem, this was how we solved it. And there are architects who are very, very interested in doing that. And when others face the problem, one of the things that we want to do is to reach a stage where, just like people Google today, they should search our internal learning database to see has somebody else faced this problem today. Especially with people getting spread out, and with a lot of remote working and other kind of things, this is the best way to kind of learn from each other, unlike in the past where everybody was sitting together and talking to each other and those kind of things. So peer learning is a big thing for us always, Dhruv.
Wow, that's great. And so you spoke about relevance, right? And I think relevance is super critical today, but do you want to touch a little bit on personalizing, right? The learning experience, because the other thing that comes up very often is that every learner today has a diverse set of learnings, right? That is needed, and even at the same level, the competencies may be the same, but the needs will be different. The proficiency will be different, yeah. Right? How do you sort of solve for that internally today?
Yeah. This has been a big learning for us, Dhruv. I think, and that personalization, in my opinion, has evolved significantly over the last 2-3 years. Today, we attempt to see how we can personalize anything that we are offering. Some cases we are able to do well. Some cases, of course, it's a learning thing in there. For example, if you have to run a leadership development program, and if you have 15 leaders inside the organization, maybe doing similar work, maybe having similar performance, but we know that their need for capability development could be very different. So the involvement of the line manager and the L&D department is very significant to really find out what are those two competencies that person A needs more, or what are the other two that the person B needs more. So that is one significant thing that we do there. In addition to that, we have our career framework. So whenever people try to kind of decide like what to learn, that alignment against career framework is also done. So the gap for a person in the career framework versus somebody else will be very different. That's the way we try to do a lot more of personalization into this one. On the lighter side, like we keep telling our customers, which are the airlines, to introduce more of personalization in the way they approach to the customers. Naturally, that means that to our internal customers, we should be able to apply personalization quite significantly.
Right.
And I think some of the tools today enables us to do that very well.
Got it. And you know, looking at the past year, you know, you spoke about personalization, you spoke about relevance. What do you think has been the top learning challenge that you want to solve for your organization? And you know, how do you see that being connected to business? Is it business driving learning, or is it learning and business making that decision together today to really sort of demonstrate of what the learner needs?
Yeah, okay. I think that's another area where we have evolved quite a lot. And I think I'm a firm believer that business driving learning will enable the learning to happen very well. Of course, there could be few things that the learning need to go and tell the business that, look, these are the changes coming in, you need to do it mandatorily, such kind of things. But I think where we were able to create a lot of difference was when business was able to put a clear North Star plan for them to say that this is where the business need to evolve. That immediately translated into what does it mean in terms of people's knowledge. We are a very product and a knowledge intense company. So retention of the people as well as their upskilling is very, very important in there. So we try to align the business's North Star strategy to our people North Star strategy. And again, naturally, every business unit will have a difference because we are talking about personalization, not just at the people level, at the business level also.
Right.
There. So that way we are aligning the business objectives to the learning objectives, and that results in better tracking by the business leaders also, because there is in it for them, there is in it for people, and the results can be seen on the work very easily. So again, there are still many areas where we want to do that, but that's a firm direction in which we are evolving, and we've been doing fairly well on that over the last couple of years.
Got it. My last question, and you know, I know you're running for a session, but retention and learning. You know, this is a topic that seems to be on top of mind to say, you know, how important is the learning charter for an employee when he thinks about retention? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think it's big, especially as the generations are progressing, people want learning. People don't just want to learn what they are working on. Like in the past, we could go and say that you're not working in this technology and hence you don't need that training. But today, like, okay, may not be working on that technology, but I want to know about that. And it may not be just on technology. Somebody in technology want to know what the domain is, how the airline domain is evolving. Somebody in the domain would say that I want to know how UX is done, because then I can give better requirements to my technical people.
Correct.
So we are seeing a lot of people coming and telling us that I want to do something different. If you look at many of our policies has evolved. Like for example, in the past we used to say that we will entertain certifications if it's in your area. But today we cannot do that because people want much more open in there. So I think that way, like, I mean, for the retention is a very key factor. It is probably not the only factor, but it's a big factor for especially the younger generation who is today very tech savvy and very learning savvy.
Great. Any last thoughts from you, Jayan, on to our learning leaders? You know, any piece of advice that you'd like to leave them with?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's again a learning for all of us. I mean, it keeps evolving. When we think that we are perfected on something else is there. So what we always try and do is that learn from others. We try and see like how the best companies are doing that, try and adapt it. We work very closely with people who provide learning systems, content systems and all, because there is something to learn with all of them. So we have to learn more. We have to learn more continuously to enable our employees to be able to learn on a continuous basis through.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jayan, for your time, and you know, wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhruv. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.